Hello, Ben. This is Dimitris calling from Chicago and Metalkaoz. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Super happy the album is out. So let's say it's a very good day for me.
So, are you happy that finally all the work is done? Happy that people will listen to what you have been working, or kind of relieved at the same time?
It's a bit of everything. Relief because it has been obviously, like promotion and pressure has been increasing. So relief because I mean, finally this steps is complete and
Mhm.
it's a big step because I have been working on this album for 2 years now. 2 years in the making. Yeah, I mean, it started actually, yes, I mean, very early March of 2 years ago. So really, it's a milestone. And also, um, yeah, you have this feeling that when you reach that point that you finally, I mean, the album is out and you're super happy because you know that people will be able to listen to it and make their opinion as well.
Mhm.
So far, I mean, all the feedbacks have been very positive, but the steps is going having the album out and not only the professionals and the journalists, but having the people and the audience discovering this album. So now, at the same time, I'm very relieved, but at the same time, a bit anxious. I want to see how people will really, like welcome this album because it's a bit different of what I've done back in, I mean, in the past. Mostly,
Sure.
doing bands like Cybrid or other project. But it's just it's I feel that way. It's finally I've reached a step, but there is so much to do before me. It's
Mhm.
like it's just a milestone, and now I will. Yeah, I'm preparing for the the long distance running because it doesn't stop now. It's just
Yes,
a milestone.
it just starts. And 2 years ago, did you have in mind Locus Noir as a project, as a band? How did the idea was born in your mind?
I mean, I think I didn't really. I mean, I didn't really think in that way. In the sense that I wanted to write this music for a
Mm.
long time. I mean, there's been a specific trigger. I've been dabbling with Gothic orientated music for quite a while, but there was a specific trigger. I recall I was in studio with Drop. We were working on some reissues of Cybrid material,
Mhm.
and he made me listen to a band. He said, "Yeah, that's a gothic metal band." I was just like, "No, that's not gothic metal. That's sad metal, And I told him, "Okay, I gotta go back home. I'm gonna write a song. I send you in a week." And that's how the song Shadow Sun just was written. And I sent it to Drop, and he told me, "You have to keep going. That's super good." So, I mean, in the beginning, it was really like, I've been trying to write this kind of music for a long time, but, with this song, I find kind of the way to do it. And so I did not even, think about, creating a band or whatever. I just went directly into writing mode. And, things kind of, build themselves, as it went, actually. At first, it was mostly the idea of a solo project.
Mhm.
And the more it was going, I mean, the more I was writing, the more I was like listening to the song, I was just like, okay, I mean, these need people to be played. These need to be brought on stage at some point one day. I need to record this. I need to go on stage and share this music because I feel like I've touched something very important for me,
Mhm.
very very sincere and very true in a way, and I want to share it with the world. So really, it just kind of became sort of a band project as things just developed. Obviously it's not a band in a sense that's not like guys that met thanks to fate or whatever accident of in the existence, but in the way I'm the main composer. I'm the main driving, I mean the driving force behind it. But really, my idea was as I was developing it, it was just like, okay, I will need people that I trust and that play, that can play the song. I will need to bring this on stage. So basically, it's it's very like it's kind of it's not even myself. I mean, it developed by itself in a way. It's
You,
fate, as I say.
no, I understand, and I'm still struggling a little bit to ask this question, but I will anyway. I believe this type of music requires the musician, the creative force to be at a specific age, right?
Mm.
To have some sort of maturity and to have gone through bad situations. And you reach at that
Yes.
point when you want to express that with your music. So I totally get what you're talking about. That this didn't happen because you said it will happen, but it happened naturally.
Exactly. And that's, I think, I mean, for the first time in my life, it's the first time I write an album that is, this much intense. I mean, on a personal level. As you say, I mean, I've been through many things during my life. I've been a struggling musician for, my entire life. I almost gave up at some point. You see,
Mm.
I've been through many things. And this album also up, I mean, Locus Noir happened because I at some point reflected back on my youth,
Right.
trying to understand why I wanted to do music why I started music actually. And I just try to remember what was the intention. And I would say, for me there was a specific point I recall. As I say, I'm a kind of I always had a foot in both, the post-punk goth scene and the metal scene because I was born and raised in a small city. There was not even a scene to speak of itself, and it was
Mhm.
just like a couple, I mean, three, four guys listening to underground music, and some had very specific. I was more the gothic one. Some of my other friends were more metal, and there is the specific event. A friend of mine gave me a copy of Bloody Kisses by Typo Negative.
Right. Hmm.
I've listened to the song. I recall I re-listened to the song Christian Woman, and I was like, okay, that's what I want to do in my life. I want to be a rock musician. So really, as I say, for me, I had to think about and rediscover this kind of trigger event on what I wanted to be a musician. And that's, I would say that's the source of why Locus Noir exists. I wanted to go back. I didn't want it to imitate these bands I grew up with, but I wanted to go back to this feeling, why I like this music and what I want to share with this music. As you said, it's something that it has to be very personal. You cannot fake this
Yeah,
kind of music.
absolutely.
Otherwise it sounds super cheesy if you fake it. So yeah.
I agree. And it's interesting to hear that you were inspired by Typo Negative to become a musician, a band that was very anti-star, right? It was not the regular superstars. No, it was quite
Mm,
the opposite. Even the lyrics, their music, they had all these. They had this gothic element that when I was young listening to Typo Negative, I didn't understand that. It took me some more, maybe a decade to really understand what they were doing.
yeah. I mean, that's the same. For me, it was more like I was more in the post-punk kind of stuff. And they made me I mean, they made me love, the metal guitars because at first, for me, metal was really about, knights and dragons and
Yeah,
whatever, which I can appreciate a good, Dio album these days or Iron Maiden or whatever. It's no problem. But, back in the days, I was like, I know I like dark things. I like, like post-punk music and stuff and gothic stuff. And the Typo Negative made me discover that, I mean, this kind of thing that you can do metal, you can do even hardcore punk and mix it with gothic and elements and, having the worst sense of humor and at the same time, write the sexiest lyrics ever. And be this kind, as you said, this kind of underdog band that made it,
yeah.
which is super. That's the crazy part with Typo Negative. But then they made me. I mean, they gave me this will to become a musician in the sense that you can be a bit different and you can express yourself. You don't have to to be in a specific genre, and you can explore things in many ways. And also you can have humor even when you do it dark music.
Oh, yes. And you're talking about a period when we loved separating everything.
Mm.
For me, it was the other way around. I was in metal and I didn't even know that Gothic existed. Even if I started like Typo Negative, I didn't know the difference because it's music in the end of the day.
Yeah,
Um,
it was really, and back in the days there was a lot of afterward I went into extreme music mostly. I didn't I jumped directly from like discovering metal to extreme metal in a way to metal death and so on. And I found out there was a lot of bands that actually had this kind of, Gothic influence.
Oh
Obviously,
yeah,
Paradise Lost, My Dying Bride, and so on. But there was also this. I was a lot into the old school Greek extreme metal scene. Nightfalls, Septic Flesh, Rotting Christ, and there was always, this kind of Gothic element in their music in a way.
yeah.
You could hear that they listened to this kind of music at some point in their life. So yeah, that's why I think I like the extreme music, because in a way it also kind of circled back to the post-punk kind of mindset. Even if you listen to black metal sometime, for me black metal is really close to sort of things you can find in the very weird gothic rock bands, like very underground stuff.
For example, Cradle of Filth, they started as a Gothic band, right?
Yeah.
And
And I'm a big fan of Cradle Phase because of that, because it was, for me, it was just like, oh my God, that's super black, that's super evil, that's super, fast, but that's super goth as well. So
yeah,
yeah.
but we couldn't say that back then. Um, so let's talk about the making of the album. Uh, the idea of turning turning Locus Noir from a project to a band happened after you completed the album and signed with Listenable Records, or during the process?
It was during the process,
Okay.
actually. As I said, very early on, um, drop, the producer and also bandmates in Cybrid, and now he's guitarist of Samael as well. Very early on, we really kind of, we worked on the demos and so on. And very early, it was the person that told me also that, okay, that's great, but we need to find a drummer, no drum machine. We need
Yep.
the bass player, but just like I went directly to Alex from Cybrid and Samael, because I know it was the bass player I wanted to have, because he can sound exactly the way I wanted. It means like in the way of like Fields of the Nephilim, this kind of bass, well, playing bass. I mean, we gathered musician very early on, and so yeah, it became a band very quickly, in the sense that it would be like very clear it would be a rock album. So if I wanted to bring that on stage, I will need musician. When I signed with Listenable, that was a discussion. Which they asked me, do you want this to be just a solo? I mean, a solo studio
Project. Yeah.
project? And I was just like, no, no, no. I want to play that on stage. I mean, I want to be able to bring. It won't gonna be easy, because the let's say the market is very saturated with band from everywhere, and as a new band, because it's still a new band. Even though I have a bit of a career back in the days, it's gonna take time. But tell me, I really want this music to be played on stage. So really, from the onset, I would say very quickly, I was just like, no, no, it's gonna become okay. I am the leader of the whole thing. I've kind of managed, control everything, but because the other guys want to as well, they just want to come and play and just don't bother and have fun. But that's gonna be a band, on stage. That's gonna be there will be, I mean, stage performance, because that's the crux of doing such an album in such a almost analog way.
So basically, they let you do the difficult stuff.
Well,
We
because
want
I
to play
enjoy
music.
it. Yeah, I mean, because I enjoy it. I mean, it's not that I'm a control freak, but I like working on music all the time. I do I write music all the time. I've done the artwork of the album myself. I have for me it's fun doing these things. It's not always fun, because it's a lot of work and the business is not always easy, but
Yeah.
they trust, and they trust me. I mean, already the core band, they trust me, I mean, with doing all the things myself. They know that it's gonna be properly handled, and for them it's less stress, so they're good.
Before I forget, is there any connection between Locus Noir and Lucifer Ascending?
Yes, I mean, in a way, let's say that, if you want, when I was writing Lucifer Ascending, it was really in that it was during COVID time, actually.
Mhm.
This one was really what they call a bedroom project. Also, even though I went in studio with Drop and LS to record the tracks, and I wanted to do something very like doom meet progressive rock in the way of Pink Floyd and so on. That was a bit of the idea, but very quickly I find myself a kind of a dead end on the creative level. It was just like, okay, I really enjoy it, but that's not something I can write an album with it. There's something missing. And let's say that's when I started after to dabble in more gothic elements, because that's I really wanted to have in my music. But if you take Locus Noir, there is elements actually of Lucifer Ascending, some of the slow paced songs.
Yeah.
Typically, I mean, very good example. Typically, a song like Reburial, it's based on a couple of riffs from a song of Lucifer Ascending that was never recorded.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
so I would say the slow paced, but I took this song kind of, you know, dismantled it, took the element I wanted and turned it into this kind of, gothic doomy, let's say, a dirge that you can hear at the end of the album. So yeah. So in fine, Locus Noir is an evolution of Lucifer Ascending. But what I do, I work that way. For me, it's always evolution. It's a steps. I mean, I'm just, I mean, uh, going forward steps by step. And Locus Noir, it's in the essence. There is also elements of one of my past project, Shadow Domain.
Hmm.
There was some elements that you can find in Locus Noir. So Locus Noir is just the latest and the most achieved vehicle for my inspiration, if you want.
Yeah, because when I was listening to Lucifer Ascending, I can hear some of the Gothic elements, especially in your
Mhm.
singing. So
Yeah.
this is where I started to draw a line that ended in Locus Noir. So I like that you mentioned the artwork. What in your mind? How did you connect the shadow sound, the title, or even the lyrics and the artwork that you created?
Well, it was very simple. The idea, it's because the Shadow Sun, it's this idea of chiaroscuro, this kind of light and shadows mixed together. So, and I wanted, so when I was working on the cover, I wanted, and the artwork itself, I wanted to work really the old way, like albums like you would see in the 90s, like Paradise Lost, My
Mm.
Dying Bride, all this kind of old album and some bit of typo negative as well. So I was really looking for a picture that would, give this effect of, shadows and light mixed together of, or picture. So I found this, this fantastic picture from a cemetery. I think it's in Ukraine, if I recall. And I love the statue, the face itself. And so I took the picture, but I manipulated in a way that the light becomes so cold that you feel that there is some sun, but it's the night at the same time. So that was the idea. That's how I went this idea, because I feel this idea of a shadow sun. It's a sun that that project a very cold light. So well, that's how it came to life. And then after the entire, and also I really love this picture because it had this very, the stone texture is very,
The
very,
grid, yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. And when I describe the music of Shadow Sun, as I would say, it's heavy as a church stone, if you
Gee,
want.
yeah, that's good.
So yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was very important. It's a mineral. I mean, this album is liturgical and mineral at the same time in a way. And I think the cover was, I mean, the artwork itself were very, I mean, I wanted really to give this atmosphere. I mean, I wanted people to have the feeling when they look at the picture and they hear the music, it's the same thing. I mean, it goes together. It's a whole atmosphere. It's a story. I mean, you can call it any way you want, but you see what I mean. It's really, I
Yeah,
wanted
absolutely.
that the music and the artwork work together. Sometimes I feel when I see a recent album, sometimes I feel that the artwork and the music is a bit disconnected, and I wanted to reconnect all these things.
Yeah, nowadays we are we um people using streaming services, and the artwork is tiny.
Yeah.
So it's the beauty of a real, true artwork is being lost. So someone will say, why spend effort and money on creating something that's relevant to the music for them to see that in a in a smartphone? But this is a lot art. In fact, it's somewhat connected to the lyrics because people are not have stopped reading the lyrics and trying to
As
see
as
what's
well.
going on. Um, before talking,
I go the other way. Sorry, it's
no,
just I
go.
see all the vinyls behind you, and that's exactly what I want. I wanted to create an album that would, end up on a vinyl, and on the digipack, having like the lyrics, and people could look the lyrics and say, okay, this is an object. This is just not. It's just not as you said, a small picture on the streaming service. It's an object. I mean, it's like a relic, yeah, I may say.
And it makes a difference when you have the vinyl, put it on the turntable, place the needle. Anyhow,
It's like going to church again.
Oh no, seriously, it's a ritual because you
Yeah,
have to put it
exactly.
to clean that to, and yeah. Um, so the album starts with the intro, Walpurgisnacht 1996. So it sounds ultra specific.
Well, the Valpurgis Night itself is just because I like the sound of it. It sounds
Of
like
course.
very demonic, very esoteric, very like old school horror movie. But 1996 is exactly the year I've discovered Typo Negative. That
Eh,
is why.
there you go.
That it's
Yeah,
very like the opening is just like, okay, that's the year. Let's go for it.
perfect.
It's it's both, something very personal at the same time. I mean, it's that this kind of like let's make it like a horror movie introduction, and you have all the cliche like the howling horse
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
supposed to be a werewolf. And but at the same time, I've made it. I mean, when I wrote this intro, it was really as well, with sincerity. Everything I do, there is a fun part in it, but it was very sincere in a way.
hmm And speaking of childhood and bands that have influenced you, you have Ben Christo from the Sisters of Mercy, right?
Mhm.
How did that happen? How did this collaboration happen?
Well, he's actually a very old friend of mine. I mean, we met, I think in the early 2000. It was during the first tour of Cybrid in Europe. I mean, we're touring with Samuel and Ben Christo. I'm not sure he was already in the Sisters of Mercy at that time, but he was a session musician on the tour for one of the band. And actually, we became like friends, like almost immediately. We just spent the whole tour hanging out together, and they called us the bromance of the tour, and it was super funny because we were always hanging out. And the thing is, we then we kept in touch for years, and we always wanted to do something together at some point. But I would say like, the stars never aligned. We never had the proper vehicle for that. So when I had a couple of songs written for Locus Noir, I just decided to send it to him, and he wrote me back quite quickly and told me, okay, that's the best material were written in years. I really love it. We have to do something at some point. And just so things went on. I just wrote the album. It took some time, and actually we ended up like agreeing on let's do something together on the single, I mean, the big, let's say, single of the album, which is Cemetery Oath.
Mhm.
And so I sent him the song, said, do whatever you want. So he played the lead guitars perfectly. I mean, the one on the chorus is just like we called it when we received it, the $1 million lead guitar. And he also added a couple of backing vocals, which creates sometimes this kind of church effect because we
Mhm.
have like three singers at the same time. Sometimes, there is the Celine Bath who sang some female vocals on the album. And so sometimes we sing the three of us, and it creates this kind of church atmosphere. So yeah, it was very natural and super happy with the result. I think he really, he really made the song, how it should be. Very like he finalized it with his participation. So
Mhm.
super happy. Hopefully I will be able to ask him to do some stuff again in the future on other tracks. So let's see what happens.
Because you mentioned future, I have to ask: have you kept writing music for Locos Noir, or you stopped?
Yeah, yeah,
There.
yeah. No, I never stop. Actually, I never stop. I think I have enough inspiration for at least three albums right now. So I'm just writing songs. I'm exploring, different direction, but I mean still in the confine of the Locus Noir concept. But really, I really know where I'm going. So I just write song all the time. And for me, writing song is fun. It's like some people you know they do whatever they want, to have fun. They play video games. I prefer writing song. I do play video games sometimes. But what I mean is just, for me, the best fun in life is writing music. So yeah,
Yeah. And for us who cannot write music, we listen to music. So it's the same thing.
exactly.
It's our therapy. Um, I mentioned the lyrics. So I don't have the lyrics. The album is not, the vinyl record is not available to purchase yet. It has not been released here in the States. So in Despair We Trust, there is a line. There is something rotten in, there is something rotten in paradise, and yet we don't
Yeah,
realize we are a failed generation.
no, it's What did I wrote? We are give me a minute. I can find it.
Yes,
Can
please,
I just
because
check the lyrics?
I'm sure I
Yeah.
butchered the lyrics, so please
No,
help
no,
me
no,
out.
no, no. It's me, and also, I still sing with my French accent, so sometimes some pronunciation, and we try to make it very sound the best we
No,
could.
no, you know what? Having I'm Greek, having a distinct pronunciation actually works in favor of the music because it gives,
Yeah.
right? So please do not change that
No,
and
no, no,
keep
no, no,
that.
no, no, no. It's really, and I'm very, adamant, and I can speak English, like you can hear, but I'm very adamant on keeping my French, a bit of my French accent, and
Yes,
especially for this kind of music.
yes.
So,
And as you
this
mentioned,
is,
the Greek bands, Rotting Christ, Celtic Flies,
oh
they
yeah,
do have that, right? So please,
exactly, exactly.
let's keep that character
No,
intact.
no, no. It's important because otherwise everybody tries to sound like an American band, and it doesn't make sense because Americans do it better anyway. So
Well,
we are a vain generation. Yeah, a vain
oh,
generation because
oh,
it was also speaking about the social media aspect. It's the only kind of political song of the album. It's the only one I decided. I said, let's go a bit like, oh, can I make a kind of a political goth song? So and yeah, a
okay.
vain
Because
generation.
in my mind, I connected Failed Generation, the decade that I believe both of us were born, 70s, 80s. So that's where I was trying to lead you with that. But thank you for explaining that.
But I have opinion on that. I mean, when I say Venn generation, it's also for my generation. It's as I
Hmm.
said, I was born specifically in 1980. Just at the threshold, and I mean, I don't know if that we actually created the world that is going on right now, but um, we have become all very self-obsessed. And I think that's that's the big problem. Us, because our older generation, because we feel like we felt, so we're trying to kind of find a way to improve the view we have of ourselves, and the newer generations, just because they have nothing. I mean, they don't know anything else than just like image is the only thing that is important, and there is nothing else anymore. Substance. Um, as I understand, sometimes I've heard that younger generation, they kind of they try everything they can to avoid any kind of pain, which is physical, social, emotional, and so on. And because perhaps our generation, we kind of we had it a bit hard, and in a way, I think we transmitted this kind of fear of pain. And
Yes.
so
And
yeah,
then,
the vein, the fail. It could have been. I could have written that way. A failed generation would have worked. I mean, equally, in a way. But I think the vein is more important in the sense that I think I mean, the world has become self-obsessed with its own image, in a
yeah.
way.
And you cannot have a failed generation or whatever generation without having some of the blame to the previous one. So yes,
Mm.
we are to blame for some things that happening right now to the
And the generation of our parents are to blame for
yes.
some of the stuff. I mean, um, I think I say it in one of the songs. It was a very personal aspect in Hollow when I say, because Hollow is it's a song about me, that as I say, almost gave up on music, almost gave up on myself at some
Mm.
point. I said, um, how do I say that if I recall the lyrics? I cannot recall and shun the blame. You see
Mm.
what I mean? You have to in life, you have to sometimes to say, okay, that's my own fault. I have to, if I wanting things to get better, I have to change things. And the only person I can do it, it's myself. I
Yes.
mean, at least on my own level. So yeah, we are all to blame. We all have, responsibilities, but we also can, act and change things over every
Absolutely.
time.
And as you said, we can start changing ourselves. It's the easiest, not the easiest, sorry, is the first thing that we can actually control
Yeah,
ourselves.
exactly. I mean, if you change, I mean, that's the rest, you can't control it, but you can control. I mean, you can do. I mean, you can try to be better or become what you think you should be, which is
Yep.
for me the most important thing that I've learned in being, because I'm an older guy these days, and um, that's what I understood. I spend so much time not trying to be myself. I mean, the only thing I can do
Mm.
these days, the only important thing is being myself.
I love it. Um, I had another lyric line, but I'm afraid if I have heard that
Go for it. I
wrong.
have the lyrics with me, so I
But I
can
will
check
do
them
that. I
out.
will try again. I'm talking about thicker than darkness. You say there, I wish to delay the daylight and capture your desire.
The
The
delight.
delight?
Yeah,
Yeah.
delight. It's the pronunciation sometimes. It's very,
And it's my
and
ears.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, to delay the delight. It's very interesting the song because it's the first time I wrote a song about, intimacy.
Mm.
It's very difficult. It's very, very difficult to make it that it doesn't sound either cheesy or too sexual, whatever. Because I hear that sometimes in a lot of goth bands, they want to do something that is a bit, intimacy, whatever, and it turns in an overly sexual
Yes.
sausage fest. My idea was really I wanted to write something that feels, that speak about intimacy, and it's the first time I think I nailed it. I mean,
Mm.
and as you say, just going back to what you said, I mean, this kind of album, I mean, you need to have, experience in life to be able to write it, and that's exactly that. Wouldn't have been able to write this album, I would say, like 10 years ago. I mean, I needed to have this experience so I could write, for example, lyrics that I felt were, very, very sincere, very myself.
Yeah, and it's interesting in the Gothic scene, in the Gothic genre, that often talks about darkness, about pain, about all these dark feelings. However, we are drawn to that, and in fact, we are enjoying ourselves listening to that music,
Of course, that's
right?
the point
So,
of it. That's the point. I mean, it's that's old as civilization itself. We like, dark stories to kind of to reassure ourselves.
yeah,
I mean, like I would say music is like, the dark stories, dark legends. I mean, about monsters, and I mean, the darker side of life, death. Loss, these kind of things. It goes even back to the speaking of Greek culture. It goes back to Greek theater. The Greek,
yeah,
the first. I mean, the ancient Greek, their the theater. I mean, what they would present was often dark. I mean, in
oh, yeah.
itself.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I think it goes back to that, and we do music especially for that, to kind of exercise. I mean, the you would say the darkest part of ourselves, the shadow, actually. So, or I try not to exercise it, but to be able to merge with it, and make peace with it. So yeah, definitely. When I write about these things, I feel much better after I write a song about, like, as I say, Hollow, for example. It's very intense song. I think I wrote this song. I was almost sometime even crying. I was not feeling good when I was writing it, but when I was done with the lyrics and I was done with the recording, which is like, I'm so proud. Now I feel relieved again. I mean, that it's out, it's there. I mean, the pain. I mean, I've expressed it, so I'm good with it.
Processed it even. So
Yeah,
this, the way sitting here listening to you now, it makes perfect sense why you picked the Lady Gaga cover. It says "Marry the Night," right? It's about
exactly.
embracing the darkness.
Yeah, and as I say, I haven't for years. I was not exactly the person I wanted to be, but I was what other people were expecting me to be. It was even the case when I was in Cybrid. I've tuned down a lot of things about my personality, about my taste, aesthetical taste, and everything. Even my voice, I was not even of all the time singing the way I wanted to sing. Like very high pitched vocals, which is not actually my real register. I mean, my real voice is what you hear on Locus Noir. That's my real voice. That's the way I sing naturally. And yeah, Marry the Night is important in that sense. I mean, the song I like, but I mean, I love it actually. I love Lady Gaga because I think she's very like fun, and I think there is something dark hidden behind all the glitter. But really, when I was listening to this song, it was like, yeah, it speaks of that. It speaks of the fact that you have to become yourself. I mean, if you lie to yourself, I mean, you won't gonna enjoy life. I mean, and Marry the Night, that's exactly that sounds. And for me, I went back to all this kind of dark culture, gothic aesthetic. I mean, because it's a whole thing, it's a whole package for me. It's culture, it's fashion, it's esotericism, it's music, it's whatever you call it, everything. And for me, I think this cover, represent. That's why I wanted to cover it because it really represents that, like saying that, okay, that's where I live actually. I live mostly, after twilight. That's where
Mm.
I mean, I really become myself.
And by the way, you mentioned glitter, and black metal bands have corpse paint. They have makeup. Sometimes we do that to as sort of a mask, right, to hide our ugly
Mhm.
side, right?
Or or
Or
not on perhaps I would say ugly side, perhaps, or to bring out who we are.
oh yes,
It's not. I mean, I sometimes feel that the disguise is actually who we really are. There is always this. Yeah, people think it's just like the kind of Batman Bruce Wayne things, but it's not. I think when you put a cop's paint, actually, you become yourself. I mean, you become would say your ground self, not the social one that
yes.
that exists on the that goes like doing like buying groceries and whatever. But you become your ground self, and I totally understand why people do that, and even myself. I don't wear a mask and things like that, but I have I'm more natural on normal days, but I dress a certain way when I'm on stage. I
Yeah.
put some makeup anyway to look better and to go into my kind of character. I even have, for example, I even have a character sheet for who I am in Locus Noir. I won't gonna share it with people, but I have a character sheet of the archetype of the person I want to be. So you see, it's really like it's bringing out. I bring out things of my personality that I wouldn't show all the other time. So I think the Kaoz pen, even like a guy from the singer of Ghost, I think when he's on stage, I mean, with all his makeup and everything, he's himself, but without restraint.
Or
That's
maybe
my thinking.
it's an excuse. The makeup and the mask gives you an excuse to be as exactly
Yeah,
as you want to be.
yeah, because I mean, we live I mean, in a society. If you want to live with people, you have to restrain yourself. I mean, if we would be like flamboyant all the time, it would be like a bloody disaster. It would be a mess, chaos. It would be chaos, and but that's a very interesting part in music. I mean, the music and world. So we are all. I don't know. It's if the word English exists in English. Saltimbanque. It's kind of performers. Like in
Mm.
the old sense, the old sense of performers. We are performers also because of that. People that do music, they want to 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 show who they are to the one. Say, okay, that's who I'm really. That's who I'm really. That's my real nature.
Yeah, and
It's kind of yeah.
it's a
Sorry.
relief because in other roles that we play, for example, if we go to our day jobs, we have to play another role. So at some point, you need to be free from that and be exactly as you are. So you will go to a
Exactly.
concert, you will play live, and this is how it becomes so therapeutic.
Exactly. I mean, I even went, for me, I try to live in a way these days that, I mean, the world is a theater. I have several roles to play. So I'm gonna enjoy every kind of role. I mean, if I have to be different in a place or another, I mean, at least I should be in a way that I decided I should be. Even for example, on my daytime job, I behave in a way that I consider, I mean, fun, not really fun, but in a way that I agree with myself. Okay, it's cool. I don't feel like I'm suffering through the day. So
Right.
it's really that it's all big theater. I mean, we are actors, but I mean actors by nature. That's human. I mean, humans are actors by nature.
Yes. Okay. Live plans for Locos Noir. What's happening?
Okay, right now, I mean, we're working on that. That's, as I say, it's very difficult to start up the process because I mean, it's a new band. There is
Mhm.
interest, but it takes time. I mean,
Yeah.
the market there is so much band touring, but I'm already. I mean, I'm working with people on that. So hopefully, we'll start. I would say by the second half, mostly of this year, the time things goes. I mean, get organized, specific. Shows and everything. And I think next year is going to be more a bigger year for the touring with Locus Noir. But really, right now that the album is out, it's going to be my focus, and I will, let's say, I will be on people's back, so we move forward on that aspect. Because for me,
Yes.
if we can do like I would say like a couple of tours every year, I mean festivals and things like that, that would be perfect. That's what I want. I want this band to be alive, to be live. Otherwise, it's as I say, a band that doesn't tour is a dead band. So yeah.
Yeah. And we want to succeed, you to succeed, so we can see Locos Noir here in Chicago, right?
Oh yes, hopefully. I mean,
That,
I haven't been in the US for quite a long time, and I can't wait to come back to the US and be able to play with Locus Noir and bring my specific brand of Gothic music
yes.
to the US.
And I have one last question. Of course, I have to ask you, Cybrid. Well, it's this band is being activated again. So
Yeah.
how are you gonna balance this? And what is the latest from Cybrid?
Well, I mean, it's very simple. Right now, basically, because we are all very busy, Cybrid is only a studio project, I mean,
Hmm.
studio band. We are
Okay.
just gonna write music and record it and release it. In the near future, we don't know when we'll start touring again. So I think we're just gonna kind of make 1 year more, one project, one year more the other. But I mean, for me, it's not a problem in itself. I can manage both because as I said earlier in the interview, doing music for me it's the fun part of my
Hmm.
life. So if I can do it all the time, will be more than happy. So I don't see there will be any problem. We just we have new tracks that we've demoed already. So probably perhaps we will release a new track in the coming months. I hope we'll see. It's just and it's really we want to Cybrid as to be. We want to go back also to be a very like. Artistic band in a sense that we kind of not that we've lost ourselves at some point, but we want to come back and say, okay, that's the music we like to write, and I mean to blow your minds, guys. So that's really like the goal we have, and we also, of course, as I say, we also try to balance everybody's, I mean, schedule because I mean, Drop and LS they are playing with Samael as well, so they are quite busy. Drop
Yes.
as a studio, so is even busier, and know that I have Lucas Noir, I'm gonna be busy, but yeah. I mean, Cybrid is back as well, and you know what? I'm super happy to have two great bands
Oh
actually I
yeah,
can express
absolutely.
myself in, and I can as I said was speaking of roles, I can be two different kind of the more the more like aggressive industrial oriented guy in Cybrid and Locus Noir, and I can be more my esoteric kind of uh, French guy that like red wine Gothic type. So yeah, I mean for me that's great because I have this I don't have just one band, I have two of them and they are great. So yeah.
Excellent. I wish success to both of them, especially Locos Noir that are newer. And as we said, let's bring Lucas Noir here in Chicago.
Yes, hopefully.
Thank you, Ben, for your time. Love the new album and have, I don't know, great shows and stay healthy.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interview. It was a great pleasure.
Absolutely. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.